Hi everyone. Instruction rubric 7, task 2, engaging children in learning. This is your scorer is going to be looking at your videos for evidence of children engaged in the learning experience. And I maybe the best way to describe that is to give you the opposite, a passive learner where the students are sitting there and receiving your knowledge that instead of being actively involved in the lesson. You want to avoid that, obviously. And for this one, I'm going to approach this a bit differently and focus on a couple of vocabulary words because I think they can be kind of confusing. But here's what the question is, the key question. How does the candidate engage children in the active and multimodal nature of children's development of language and literacy? And I'll let you go through this, but some key concepts from the rubric are engaging children in learning, and then the word assets, personal, cultural, and community assets. Okay, and rather than go through those now, I'm going to go through them in a second. And the primary sources of evidence are the video clips and instruction commentary prompt 3. And one thing to caution yourself against is candidates sometimes describe events that do not appear in the video or conflict with scenes from the video. Those statements should not override that when the score is grading your work. Those statements are not going to take the place of what you say. So, and the commentary is intended to provide context for interpreting what is shown in the video. If there's something that you wanted to add that maybe not be seen in the video, you want to note that specifically. Like if you had an intention because you did something or said something in the video, you want to explain that as thoroughly as possible. So the scoring decision rules, the primary criteria that the score is looking for are the students engaged in the learning experience. Criterion 2 are connections between new learning and development, prior learning, and or assets, personal, cultural, and community. All right, so greater weight is placed on criterion 1, engagement, but that doesn't mean you should avoid criterion 2. All right, and then we're going to go down here, and I'll let you guys, whenever you have time to go through this, it gives you the evidence that demonstrates an above the performance above 3. All right, and then I want to go to some vocabulary words. This is your EdTPA handbook and the glossary, and I just want to describe what assets are because you may not have heard that term described in this way. But knowledge of children, their personal assets, like what's their background information? What's the child's background information? What do they bring to the learning environment? What are their interests, knowledge, everyday experiences, and family backgrounds, and so on that a teacher can draw on to support learning? The more you know their personal assets, the easier it will be to create active and engaging experience for that child. Cultural assets. What are the children's cultural backgrounds and practices? Traditions, languages, worldviews, literature, and art that you can draw upon to support learning. Community refers to common backgrounds and experiences that children bring from a community where they live, such as resources, local landmarks that most people know in the community, community events and practices that you can use to draw on to support learning and make your lessons more engaging. Okay. All right, and then we get on here, and you can engaging children in learning. I think you guys get that, but rather than focus on that, I want to go to the multimodal nature of young children's learning because I think that can be confusing when it doesn't have to be the way it's phrased. But it refers to teaching practices for young children that promote learning through the engagement of all their senses, utilizing varied approaches to learning and demonstrating that learning, i.e., integrated meaningful learning experiences that build on children's interests, nurture their curiosity, and respond to their own unique styles of learning while scaffolding and challenging them to grow in less developed areas. So you take those assets and you apply that to that's links directly to the multimodal nature of children's learning. So you're planning experiences that build on specifically for the student. Okay, and I'll let you look that over, but that is a very quick recap of rubric 7. All right, guys. Oops.